Get involved in the Occupy movement.
Oh,
Or
man.
are you?
I sensed it.
Yeah, you sensed it.
Yeah.
Before it even started?
I sensed it coming, yeah.
Were you on the internet?
Yeah, I'm from the interwebs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interwebs. What's
Yeah.
that? Is that an actual group?
No, that's just a like a meme,
What's
I
that?
guess. Like it's just a funny way of saying the internet.
Yeah. So you saw this? Did you hear the comments and see the comments, I guess, that were going on before about them starting up?
Actually, I really, I wouldn't say that I knew any specific information like before. I just kind of sensed that we were on the verge of like having to have like some kind of like revolution to like really change the path that we were on, and that's what I really like. I could just kind of see the way we were going, and so I sensed.
I'm from Orlando, but I left school and left my job and everything and went up to Zuccotti like as soon as I heard that it started because I wasn't trying to miss out.
So when were you there?
I was there from October 9th, I think it was, until December 15th.
Were you staying there?
Yeah.
Were you staying at the park?
Wow. Cool. So what was your experience while you were there?
Awesome. I got arrested a few times. I learned so much. Like, there's so much just information going through there, just so many radical groups, and it was amazing. Like, it was a shame that it got evicted.
Yeah. So did you go to, Brian, were you at?
No, actually, I was never at Zuccotti. I was actually in New York earlier in the year, but I was unfortunately upstate helping my sister move, actually. But I've been in Orlando I was here on the 1st of March, and then...
So what's going on here in Orlando? What's the big focus being here, or has it been many?
Well, I mean, right now it's like this weekend was like something we devoted a lot of time and energy towards.
And it's, really towards homelessness.
Yeah.
Because Central Florida is like...
Yeah.
You guys have a
horrible.
huge, not only the homeless.
Second in the country, right? Second homeless roll
Because of the
in
weather, probably?
Probably.
That's one thing is, like during the winter, a lot of homeless people from New York and just everywhere north will kind of flock down, but it's still, like, it's more than that. Like, it's a year-round problem.
I saw a presentation last night. They were talking about the homeless. There was the guy there that talked about losing his wife, his daughter, and then losing his job and his house. And Rick. Yeah. So, you got people driving around in their cars that are homeless. We have a huge problem in this country. But here, the rules are so crazy.
Yeah, the rules are ridiculous, and it's like they want to keep you there, but like...
That's what I was gonna say though. Like, it's so backwards down here because they think that if they make it so hard for the homeless that will motivate them to then work harder and get a job, but the jobs aren't here. Like, so that doesn't work.
No,
it's such a backward thought process.
You don't have a place to take a shower. You don't have a place to rest. So how can you work?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, even if you get a job, it's like not the living wage necessarily. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Because it doesn't cover medical and all of that to get a job. So you're still a paycheck away from disaster.
Exactly. That's what people need to start understanding. Like, these people that don't understand, like, people that are telling me, fuck the homeless, like, they deserve, like, the position they have. I'm like, you just haven't experienced it. Like, you haven't experienced anyone close to you. And if you have, you're just not an understanding person. You're not very capable of empathy because you just don't seem to understand that it could happen to you, like, easily.
Yeah.
And that's an unfortunate attitude, but it's pervasive, like...
Well, a lot of people do, and same with this thing that's going on this weekend, right? We'll build a big wall. We won't see what's going on behind. It's the same. Ignore the man behind the curtain.
I know one thing they originally proposed that the Amway Arena, with it being built, it had to house the homeless like on. I want to say it was every night. It was supposed to be like an area for the homeless to be housed, and that hasn't happened at all.
So the old Amway.
The new Amway.
Oh, not this one?
The new Amway was supposed to house homeless.
So this one, no?
This one, I don't know what they're doing with this one, in all honesty.
Says,
I would think you house them
Village.
here if they weren't gutting it, but they're...
It says something about Creative Village, Orlando Creative Village.
Is that what Facebook?
What are they making there now?
Yeah, I don't know what they're making, but they are demolishing.
What do you think would be
I mean, you need shelter and food and better work programs for the homeless. So in that aspect, I mean, I think there should be either state or federal spending to get some kind of work program started, maybe build schools or just something that the community needs. And so you start up this project and then try and mainly get your workers as far as like the basic jobs for basic skills that you could teach really quickly, try and pick from the homeless kind of deal.
So what was the plan? In the new Amway, they were going to house the homeless and what, through the night, you mean?
Yeah.
Just allow them to sleep there?
But it never happened.
Was that because so they could get it built?
Yeah.
They're getting funding for that, right? Or they were getting funding to house the homeless?
I don't know if it was... I don't remember the specifics exactly, but I know there was like a benefit, like there was a reason that was in there, but they just didn't come through with it. But they still, I think that was part of the way they got it passed, like because people were kind of iffy, and so then you throw in some good things like that, and it's like, well, okay, yeah, like
so then they built it, and then they're like, oh no, we changed our mind.
Exactly.
I don't know much more about that other than it seems to be an old law that was kind of passed a while back and kind of buried and just never really taken seriously, and now like it seems like people kind of dug it up and they're presenting it and they're just kind of saying we just kind of agreed upon that we weren't going to do this, I guess.
So do they have a law here that they can't feed the homeless, or is it over a certain number?
I think that one appealed possibly by Food Not Bombs thing a year ago, a big one. I'm not sure.
I know they tried to, but I know it's like you can't feed. I think it's any more than 25 people
without a permit,
individually.
You can only get 2 permits a year.
2 what?
2 permits. You can't feed more than 25 people at one time without a permit, but you only can get 2 permits a year.
Okay.
Oh,
so that means you can get 2 permits. You can get 2 permits. I mean, that would be the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
So depending how big the Food Not Bombs people are, how big that group is, you might be able to feed 2 months out of the year.
Meanwhile, you got restaurants throwing out perfectly good food.
Yep.
This is,
throwing it out, yeah.
Yeah. So this is what we did. Where was it? We gave them Daytona. We gave them our 501c3 because Panera Bread said they would give the food if it was a non-profit.
Yeah.
So if you guys need a non-profit, you guys should do the same thing.
Panera is great. Like I know of some other programs where they've had like a pay as you can feature with like there's certain like breads, like they're easy, cheap breads. They'll be like, pay what you can basically, and pay when you can. And it's actually been successful. They've actually made a profit off of it.
See, so when we find companies doing that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing we want to put out there.
Yeah.
That they're making an effort at least. They may make...
And it's working. Like it's good business. Like.
Yeah. Exactly. We need to promote those kinds of businesses.
Well, I know it's terrible for the homeless. Like, I think I don't know what these figures are based upon because it's a subjective value such as meanest, but it's been ranked the 3rd meanest city in the nation. I don't know.
Meanest as
I don't know how they get. Yeah, I don't know how they get that statistic, but
it's there.
Yeah, but it's there.
Trust me, they probably earned it somehow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, they might be basing it off of like violence committed against homeless, something like that, but.
It's very like just an apathetic city, like not much political involvement at all. It really, because it wasn't anything until Disney World came in like '71, and then everything just went straight up. Like it's become like a giant corporate city pretty much.
But it was hit hard with the economic shift and the foreclosures and stuff, the housing markets, because we've seen a lot of empty buildings.
And you had a housing boom here, and then from a housing boom you went to foreclosure.
Yeah.
So that must be a big problem here also, right? People losing their homes.
This was Jeb Bush's, FCAT was Jeb Bush's baby. I don't know if you guys know about all these state tests, but the Bush family has been hugely, supportive of them. George Bush created, Jr. created the, No Child Left Behind Act, which made them have to do all these tests or whatever. But Jeb created FCAT, which is Florida's.
Oh, we heard about this FCAT.
Yeah, and so they promoted these policies, of strict evaluation in these ways because they had stake in the companies that distributed these tests. Jeb Bush, basically had stake in the company that administered FCAT, and so that was just a quick way to get a buck, have the whole Florida school system mandated to pay these companies to administer these tests.
I think it's Jeb Bush, the one that had the daughter. They got arrested in Orlando for false, for what's that with the prescriptions, Jay? When you write the phony prescriptions? What's that
Jeb
called?
Bush's daughter. What was she arrested for?
Oh, it's forgery.
All right, whatever. For passing forged prescriptions. In the state of Florida, it's a mandatory 3 years for a first offender. She got a month in a rehab, got busted with crack in there, and got a day or 3 days in the county jail, and that was it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, the law applies selectively to
how much money you have.
Yeah, how much money you have, exactly.
If you're in the ruling class,
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I mean, you could be guilty of fraud for millions of dollars and get like, you know, 2 years in jail versus someone like get caught with pot as a repeat offender and get like.
Who's the governor of?
Rick Scott or
Rick Scott,
he's horrible.
Voldemort,
He's
Voldemort.
like probably the worst governor in the nation
Really?
right now. Like he is horrible.
He has the 29% approval rating. It's like.
And this is like a year after being elected.
This is what I don't get.
Yeah,
how
like,
did these guys get in? Are they buying their way
They're
in?
buying his way in.
Yeah.
He's rich.
That's
He's very rich.
Like,
and he's guilty
sucks.
of the same shit. Like his company, he had stake in a company that administered drug tests, and he's gotten welfare recipients to have mandatory drug testing.
Oh, this is the state where they wanted to have.
And the crazy thing about this is that they justify this
money.
whole program by, they say we don't want to give the taxpayers money to people that are on drugs, but they don't take drug tests. Like they refuse to take a drug test, and they're receiving taxpayer money.
Yeah.
And the other crazy thing about it is that only 2% of the people that took the drug tests on welfare failed it. Only 2%. And that's versus like a 9% estimate of the number of people that take drugs.
So
like percentage of the
if you figure
overall
out the cost,
they lost money.
They lost totally.
And that was the big deal. It's like, oh, we're gonna save you guys all this money, get all these people that shouldn't be on welfare because they're just on drugs, and then it completely didn't work.
Yeah.
And when he was running for election in Florida, there's a law where if you reach a certain limit on campaign spending, then the state matches the other candidates every dollar.
Oh.
And it's never been hit before, but of course he hit that bar. And then he filed a Supreme Court case here in Florida to overturn that law for it being unconstitutional, and it passed. And so then he just kept spending more and more money. So
corruption at its finest.
He bought this election, like hands down. It was just months later, and he had less than a 50% approval rating. Like it was a joke. Like I don't understand how these people literally were just like, oh, Rick Scott, like they just saw his commercials and then decided to vote, and it was like, oh wait, he is an idiot. Like this is
why aren't people outraged? This is what I don't get. This is what we're trying to do with our USA Assembly and get this going. We want people to run in every district. Every district should have somebody representative of the district of the people, and we write them in the election, you know, and circumvent the whole registering and whatever. And if we can get enough people, I think it would. Even if they didn't win, it would send a loud message.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's possible, but not until you get money out of the campaign process. Like,
so we need a public election, fair to everybody.
We need to get rid of corporate personhood and get money. Like money is not free speech. Money out of politics.
But you see, even if we had a public election, then it wouldn't matter about corporate personhood, because they wouldn't be able to fund it. So it would take care of that. Yeah. So we just need to have a public
I still don't
election.
like corporate personhood.
I know.
But yeah, like in this topic, you're right.
I mean, let's have. It costs us so much to get a bad person in that we might as well pay for the election and have more people run. Because right now we just get the greedy and the wealthy who want to manipulate systems to better enhance what they want out of it, right?
And when somebody says, where do you get the money to fund these elections? Cut military spending.
Yeah.
That should always be the